So most of the hustle and bustle from free agency has settled down. We're starting to turn the page towards the draft, and it's starting to look like the Panthers may not have a dance partner in terms of making major upgrades to their wide receiver room. A lot of the veteran options that were out there have either been traded or re-signed to their own team and aren't available anymore. So a lot of Panthers fans, including me, are getting antsy about what they can do. Yes, they do have Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker, but there seems to be a little bit more juice and a big dog needed for that wide receiver room, but there may not be any options from a veteran standpoint to get that immediate impact that we want. The draft is still around, but from what it sounds like, they're not going to be prioritizing anybody early. As of right now, obviously things change come the draft, but it just seems like they're going to take more of a passive approach to upgrading this wide receiver room, and it's a little bit bothersome for me. So this video is going to be a rant and discussion that I did from a live stream in partnership with Bleacher Report, where I talked about the Panthers and their failure to add weapons at this point in the offseason. I go live every week on the Bleacher Report app. So if you want to catch me in the rant, you can go to the Bleacher Report app, follow the Panthers on there. You'll be able to get notifications every week when I go live at Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. But without further ado, my name is Aaron Duncan with the Necessary Blunt and Sports Talk. I really appreciate you if you give the video a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and get into it. Panthers Nation, what up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here. We are back again with another edition of Panthers Weekly here on the Bleacher Report app, talking about your favorite team, my favorite team, the team that it keeps us up at night. It keeps us warm when we get victories, those rare times we get victories, and the team we love to argue online about. And today we're arguing about something because free agency has started to wind down. The trades have happened. Some big time signings have happened, and slowly but surely it's starting to feel like the writing is becoming to be on the wall for the Carolina Panthers offense, in particular quarterback Bryce Young, and the potential to add a wide receiver one to this roster. Now, I had to do my Skip Bayless, my Skip Bayless exhale, but it's tough because last year we know Bryce Young, they tried the experiment with Deontay Johnson, right? Tried to get a wide receiver one. They talked about our offseason how the offense was going to start and end with Deontay Johnson. They put that on wax. They put it in the media. They told him that, right? And he was going to be the first look. And once defenses adjusted to how he played, they were going to make adjustments to the rest of the team based off of that. Fine strategy. I get it. Sounds good on paper. Deontay Johnson is a type of separator like that. But at the same time, he's a head case. I'm partially thinking that he was part of the blame for Bryce Young's struggles. Bryce Young is a guy that typically runs the offense. He'll give any guy a chance. He believes in his teammates. He'll spread the ball around. So forcing him into a box of looking directly at one guy every play just seemed like it backfired. It had him in his head. You have it then once he's not actually getting the ball, even though he's the first read on the play, he starts wigging out backhanded comments in the media. Bryce Young got benched all over again. Whatever, it is what it is. Deontay Johnson got moved on from. Bryce Young comes back. Deontay Johnson's not there. Bryce Young plays better. There's a lot of factors that went into Bryce Young improving, but it's hard to ignore the fact that Deontay Johnson played a role. I talked about that in my extended version of the Panther Banter podcast. You can check that out at pantherbanterpod.com, or you can check it out in the video on the YouTube channel. Because I am Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Blunt and Sports Talk. Recap analysis of the Panthers, what goes down on the channel. So make sure you check out the YouTube channel and subscribe at UB Sports Talk. Hit the subscribe button, turn on bell notifications. I'm on top of everything. Because this is something that, man, is starting to look us right in the face. Reality is looking us right in the face. Reality is often disappointing. That's what Thanos said on Endgame. Reality is often disappointing. You have these hopes, you have these dreams, but then reality comes in and just smacks you in the face. Like, what was you thinking? What was you thinking? You know how your Panthers do. So here I am thinking that we're in the sweepstakes for DK Metcalf. Here I am thinking that we're in the sweepstakes for T. Higgins. Here I am hoping and praying that we're in the sweepstakes potentially for Brandon Ayuk. Because what the Panthers have done this offseason has been spent all the money on defense, and it makes sense. I talked about on this stream a couple weeks ago when we first started that the Panthers should go all in on Bryce. And one of the ways I talked about them going all in on it is getting a pass rush on defense, getting a capable defense that can close some games for you. There were multiple games where the defense let the team down on the final drive. The Chiefs game, the Bucs game. It probably would have been the Eagles game. Damn, that could have been the Falcons game had we not won the toss. But not having pass rushers to close out, that was part of it. And for the most part, the Panthers have added to the defense. No really pure pass rushers, so they haven't done exactly what I wanted. But I appreciate the effort of trying to put a competitive defense on the field. But does it start to feel like they're overcompensating? They spend all the money on defense. The only offensive move they made for new blood is Rico Dowdle, who, for all intents and purposes, was a great value deal, 1,000-yard rusher with limited action with the Cowboys last year. Very similar skill set to Chuba Hubbard, but also has some receiving game upside. I like the move, but he's still a running back too. It seems like the best thing you did was try to keep the crew together on the offensive line and keep the crew together at wide receiver. Kudos to you for doing it on the offensive line. Kudos. Because this group went from one of the worst in the league when Bryce Young was a rookie to a top 10 unit by most metrics. Even with some injuries to the interior. We miss Damian Lewis. We miss Ike Ekwonu. We miss Taylor Moton. We miss Austin Corbett. We miss Robert Hunt for the final game. But the depth stepped up, and we had a competitive offensive line that gave Bryce Young the help that he needed, the time that he needed. They threw all their resources into that last year, and it left the defense lacking. This year, they threw all their resources in the defense. What is going to be left lacking? It seems like the weapons. All right, y'all, it's that time of year. We're finally shaking off the winter and stepping in the spring. But if you're like me, that also means you realize your closet is still stuck in cold weather mode. I know this weather is bipolar, but it may just be time to ditch the heavy layers and upgrade to something fresher. And that's where Chubbies comes in. Their everywhere shorts have been a lifesaver for me. I'm talking lightweight, stretchy, and versatile, and perfect for those days when it's cool in the morning, a little bit warmer at noon. You pair those everywhere shorts with Chubbies lineup performance polos, and now you're cooking with gas because it's a soft and breathable fabric. Those polos are good for kicking back, chilling out, or turning up outside of the festival or something. So if your spring wardrobe needs to upgrade, whether you're getting dressed for your workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubbies has you covered. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving away my viewers 20% off your order with UBSports20 at chubbyshorts.com. That's code UBSports20 at chubbyshorts.com. So support the show. Tell them that we sent you, and don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubbies. Now, the Panthers did add a guy like Xavier Legette. They traded up for him last year. They added Jonathan Brooks, who got injured, so we won't see him until 2026. They added JT Sanders in the 4th round, who shows some flashes of promise. They added Jalen Coker, an undrafted free agent who I'm hearing is very, very highly regarded in the front office and the team standpoint. Just came out of nowhere. They looked up and found him. Shout out to J. Coke. But even with those guys showing promise, it feels like malpractice to just bank on somebody to develop, or the answer being on the roster and putting everything on Bryce Young's plate. Yes, Bryce Young did close the season with the bang. 5, should have been 6 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. But let's be real. The Falcons may be the only team in the NFL last year who had a worse pass rush than the Carolina Panthers. So I would not use that as the measuring stick of what's to come, because we definitely saw Philly get after them. Don't let that final drive and the first drive fool you. They were getting after the Panthers. Yes, there was a talent gap, but we're talking about a unit on the Panthers that hasn't improved in terms of adding talent. Just saying. So it's not like, oh, that's their starting point. I expect them to be better. Yeah, they'll be better based off of experience, but talent-wise, they have to get better. We saw the Cowboys smoke their boots up front on the offensive line. One turnover thwarted everything. There's no way that one turnover early in the game, on the first drive of a game, should really throw a curveball or a monkey wrench into an offensive play. It seems like it's so hard for this offensive unit to overcome obstacles early on. Meanwhile, I'm watching Jared Goff throw 5 interceptions against the Houston Texans, and the Lions still win. Not saying that the Panthers are going to need to create a Super Bowl contender like the Lions by next year, but there's a big gap between being able to overcome 5 interceptions from your quarterback and not being able to overcome one early fumble from Bryce Young. There's just has to be some in between area, because you can't put that much pressure on Bryce Young. He showed promise, but I do not want to have to expect 5 or 6 touchdowns from my quarterback Bryce Young every week. Expecting that is crazy talk. He's not going to have it every week. If he does, he's going to be the best quarterback of all time. I love Bryce, but I do not see him on that career trajectory. I'm sorry. He will be good and great in my opinion, but I do not see him on that trajectory of being able to carry a team like he had last year with 5 or 6 touchdowns every week. Because even then, we still only inched out the Falcons. Yes, some of that was the defense's fault. But at the same time, Bryce Young had to damn near play perfect for us to be able to compete in these games down the stretch. Yes, he's built different. Yes, I love Bryce. But he shouldn't have to play perfect. Putting that pressure on him could be a recipe for disaster. You make him start pressing. He gets he thinks every play he has to make every play. He did a good job of living to fight every play and making something positive happen out of every play, whether it was running the ball, getting rid of the ball, or finding a completion. But I still want him to be able to play free enough that he can take those shots. He can have fun. He can be loosey-goosey on a week-to-week basis, because he knows that, hey, I don't have to be perfect, because I can just, hey, if this is not going right, I have my dynamic wide receiver on the outside that I can just give it to with a smoke screen or a slant. He's going to take it to the crib. We don't have to go 10, 11, 12 play drives to methodically move the ball down the field, because we have a running game that's capable, that keeps us on schedule, can break off some chunk runs, but we don't have any home run hitters on this offense. None. Offensive football does not have to be that hard. You don't have to score on 10, 12 play drives. You can get big plays. You can get 3, 5 play drives because you're getting 40 yards here, 25 yards here, chunk plays here and there. But we don't have those type of guys on this roster. So the Panthers are going to have to get more weapons, but it just feels like the time is ticking, because the draft, let's be real, we're scarred from the draft. Whether it's Scott Fitter, Marty Herney, Dave Gettleman, it's hard for us to find impact players from the jump on offense in the draft. When's the last time we had some real impact rookies on offense? On offense. We haven't had any kind of legendary rookies coming. Like even Christian McCaffrey, he showed some flashes, but he wasn't Christian McCaffrey as a rookie. There's a lot of improvement that happened over the course from year 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3 for sure. But it feels like with Bryce Young going into his 3rd year, they should have more urgency. But it honestly feels like the fans have more urgency with getting Bryce Young weapons than the team does. The teams feel content running it back with those guys. I do expect Coker to take a step forward. I do expect Leggett to get over those drops. I do expect Thielen to continue to be where he's going to be. I know Chuba's going to be who he wants to be. But how much of a step can we expect from these guys to really make us what we want to be? Fans, we're hungry. We want division titles. We saw us split with every team in the division except the Bucs when we probably should have had we not fumbled in overtime. We see that. So we feel like we're not that far. So why not make moves that show you're not that far? You notice how close you are, and you want to get there. But it doesn't feel like the front office and the coaches have the same sense of urgency of the fans. Us fans, for the better part of 6 or 7 years, we've been hungry, starving, thirsty for relevance. We've been told it's time we have to rebuild 3 different times. How many times do we have to be patient or rebuild before something changes? We're not trying to hear this is a 2 or 3 year plan. We're not trying to hear that. We want to win now, especially when we figure out we finally got the quarterback. Why not go all in? We see all these other teams, and I don't like to keep up with the Joneses. I like to stay in my lane, run my own race, love yours, like J. Cole says, all of the above. But when you see Jaden Daniels, them adding weapons like Deebo Samuel, and no, I'm not saying specifically I wanted Deebo, but you see the idea. When you see a CJ Stroud, they had a Nico Collins come on, had a Tank Dell come on, but that didn't stop them. They went and got Stephon Diggs, for better or worse. They went and got a Joe Mixon, a bona fide RB1. Now, what they doing with the offensive line, that's going to be talked about. But I'm talking about weapons. Why does every young quarterback in the league get their own weapons, but Bryce Young, being the point guard, has to distribute the ball with routes because he has an owner that wants to save money on wide receivers? These are not my words. These are his. He said that on draft night. He had been doing a little sippy sip. He was a little drizz, a little sliz, because they was popping champagne after they got their guy Bryce. And I understand he was the point guard, but damn it, being a point guard, he ain't got to be Russell Westbrook, where he dominates the ball and do everything. He could be Chris Paul. Why he can't be Chris Paul? And have some good players around to pass the ball to set them up, to throw lobs. Why can't he do that? So it felt like a vet wide receiver was the weapons that they needed to go after, not in the draft, because the draft, yeah, we're being preached and told to, oh, this is a weak wide receiver class, but let's just rely on that in the draft versus going after a free agent. You know how backwards that sounds? Fans are asking for a wide receiver 1, and then you're like, no, we're just gonna have to wait till the draft, guys. Let's just wait till the draft. Okay, let's draft Tet. No, Tet's overrated. He's wide receiver 1, but he's overrated. He's not worthy of a top 10 pick. Why would we draft Ted McMillan? I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5". He all he does is catch contested passes. All he does is dunk on defenders' heads. All he does is go for 300 yards in a game. All he does is play in the slot, play on the outside, and continuously bail his quarterback out because he has dependable hands. Why would we want that on the team? That's what y'all telling me. That's how crazy y'all sound. Y'all telling me this class is down, but y'all telling me we don't need to make moves for a vet. So what is it? We're just going to run it back? Malpractice. We've seen this movie with Cam Newton. When Cam Newton first got there, they had some quality weapons. They had some good players. But it seems like as Cam started to come into his own and the money was paid, they just cut back. They cheaped out. It put too much on Superman's shoulders. We underachieved with Cam Newton as a franchise, one of the greatest, a generational quarterback, one of the most talented quarterbacks ever in terms of arm strength, size, mobility, the speed, the domination factor that he has. There's no way we shouldn't have got at least one Super Bowl from him. We got one NFC title out of him. 3 division championships in a row. Cool. A couple playoff berths. But barely any winning seasons. And we cut his career short because we put too much on Superman's plate. Shame on them, because this is what it sounds like is going to happen again, and I'm sick to my stomach thinking about it. I hope things are going to get better because free agency, they've done nothing but retain guys. And signing David Moore was okay down the stretch, but the metrics, damn it, show that he was one of the worst receivers in the league getting open according to ESPN. And the only person really inside the top 20-something was Jalen Coker. Your undrafted free agent, Jalen Coker. No slight to Jalen Coker. But I did not have Jalen Coker and Adam Thielen, 30-something years old, being the top 2 weapons for Bryce Young going into next year. An undrafted free agent and a 36-year-old slot receiver. Everybody can't play in the slot because Jalen plays a little bit outside too, but he makes his money in the slot. Everybody can't play the slot. Somebody has to be able to win on the outside. And somebody needs to do that this year. I'm not trying to wait for guys to develop. Why do we have to be the guys to wait for people to develop? Meanwhile, I'm seeing rookies go for 1,000 yards. I'm seeing Lad McConkey. The year before that, when we took Mingo, I'm seeing Tank Dell. I'm seeing Josh Downs. I'm seeing Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice have a huge impact and role on their teams. Why do we have to be the team that always have to wait for guys to develop and be patient? You guys are good. You guys are suck. So you should wait longer. If anything, we have more right to want it now. I'm tired of being sold the development suit, man. I'm tired. Fans are tired. So when people are wigging out about this, and you think people are overreacting, don't tell people to calm down. We've seen this movie before with Cam Newton. We've been preached to us patience for years. It's sickening. Because there's no way that Dan Morgan was around during Bryce Young's rookie year and saw that whole point guard mentality, and he doesn't need wide receivers like that. Threw out DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, and they're about to do something similar just because they have some young guys that they're going to want to develop. The elite teams, like the Eagles, they drafted Jalen Reagor. And, okay, we're going to take Devontae Smith after. We messed up. Let's take Devontae Smith. Oh, Devontae Smith ain't a wide receiver one? Let's go trade for A.J. Brown. They're never satisfied. I don't want to save money on wide receivers because our quarterback is good. I'd much rather be the person that is a fan of a team that, hey, we have so many weapons that you got the league questioning, is Bryce Young even good? I want that Brock Purdy treatment for Bryce Young. I want them saying, man, he's got this guy, this guy, this guy. Well, how good is he? I want Brock Purdy allegations. I want Brock Purdy allegations for Bryce Young because we got so many weapons. Meanwhile, y'all got him trying to make chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo. And this is no slight to the young guys. I'm not giving up on them. I was an Excel guy coming out. We knew he needed development. Jalen Coker, I love the upside. Do I see wide receiver one? I don't. Do I see a damn good wide receiver two that's going to be on the same page with Bryce Young because of just the route running and the smarts? Hell yeah. But you still need somebody with speed that can get big plays. It's going to put a lot of pressure on them on the draft. And when you're telling me that we're going all in on defense, it seems like you're not going to use any premium capital on offense. So what's really going to happen? The only way they can save face is get some guys that have impact roles early on that identify that can create mismatches. I'm talking about a running back that's a factor out of the backfield. We saw Alvin Kamara in his good years and Christian McCaffrey dominate linebackers because they're too good of route runners and too good in space for linebackers to guard them. But if you put DBs on them, that's one less guy in coverage. Get me a pass catching running back, a Brashard Smith, who from SMU, former wide receiver, great route runner, great out of the backfield. Get me a LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, a good all-around back, every down skill set. Get me an RJ Harvey, who's lightning quick, short, stocky, giving me real Bucky Irvin vibes. They can catch the ball out of the backfield on wheel routes and make things happen in space. Give me a tight end that's a route runner, a big body tight end that's a route runner. We have the 6'3", 245 athletic yak guy that's not as polished as a wide receiver. We have JT Sanders. We have Tommy Tremble. Those guys are the similar arch type. Get me a guy that I don't care if he needs to block. Get me a Mason Taylor, a great polished route runner with hands. Get me a Oronde Gadsden, Syracuse, a wide receiver converted to tight end that you can still split out and runs probably better routes than most guys on the Panthers currently. Get me one of those guys. A tight end can be an ultimate game changer because linebackers are too slow and unathletic enough to be able to guard these guys. And then give me somebody that's too big for safeties. I want somebody that's 6'5", that can run routes. I don't want no 6'3" tight end no more. I want a guy that's going to give a variety of skill set. Give me a wide receiver with some speed that you can just give him the ball and get out the way. Give me an Isaiah Bond, who's a great route runner, but lightning fast. You can give him a screen and end around, and it can hit the sideline and go from anywhere on the field. Track speed. Give me one of them guys. You know what I'm saying? Get me one of those. Like, reimagine things. Give me a deep threat. He may just be all he is, a Dante Thornton from Tennessee. Maybe all he is a down the field threat. He can stretch the field. But damn it, that's something we don't have. And that's a matchup problem. That stresses the defense. Figure out other ways to stress the defense. And when you do it this way, it's going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on Dave Canales as well to use all these weapons and be creative enough. I think Dave Canales has a pretty steady playbook, but there's some creativity that he lacks. He has some cool wrinkles, but in terms of just creativity, if you're talking like the trick plays and getting guys involved in unique ways like a Ben Johnson does, his bag is not even close. And I'm bullish on Dave's play calling, but his bag is not even close, especially the variety of the run game. So he's going to have to step up too. It's the only way I see them trying to do something. But even then, how much impact are you going to get from these guys? Because some of the guys I listed, these are day 2 and day 3 guys. These aren't bona fide day 1 guys that you're expecting. Yeah, guys pop off that are later draft picks every year, but that don't happen too often for us. So I don't have high hopes. I'm just concerned about Bryce Young. Do not waste this young man's career now that we finally have a quarterback again. We saw with Cam Newton, we should have got 3 to 5 more years probably out of prime Cam Newton had we got him more help. Then he didn't have to put his body on the line game in and game out, where we might not have had enough weapons all the time for him, that he felt like he had to do the most, and that we only got a couple winning seasons out of him. We got a quarterback that shows some flashes, man. Let's please, Panthers, take advantage, man. Support the young man. Support him. But that's it for me, man. I'm going to get up off here, man. I appreciate y'all watching this week, man. This was a little bit of a rant from the heart. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I'm hoping things turn out for the best. I would love Tech, but I'm not finna hold my breath. I'm fully capable of accepting reality of us not getting Tech. So it's best y'all govern yourselves accordingly. All right? I love y'all. See y'all later. Peace.